Howdy! You are about to watch and listen to a presentation, a quick guide style, discussing what happened to Sears, such as how did it lose its nickname of being known as the Big Store, and offering solutions to help Sears in some way today, including what it could have done in the past. Why Sears? Well, Sears used to be the best. It was looked up to by many. It was seen as part of the American culture. This is why a tower was erected in its honor and name. Then this was all taken away and was no more. What happened to Sears is alarming because it shows no company or organization is immune to being great, seeming as if nothing can or could take it down, to being disbelief, shocking, a fall from grace organizational horror story. We can still learn from Sears. Sears has much to offer in regard to organizational development and how this works hand in hand with organizational survival. Therefore, what would Sears be teaching us? The importance of always executing strategic decision-making processes. Sears lacked in implementing and executing strategic decision-making processes, leading to its own downfall. Therefore, this is worthy to take note of, considering all organizations of all kinds need and must have the ability to make strategic decision-making efforts for the purpose of adapting to the environment for organizational survival. Therefore, strategic decision-making means to have the ability to adapt to the environment both within a company or organization and the environment outside of the company or organization, as the two environments influence each other directly. In other words, you have to be able to reflect inside a company or organization of what is happening outside of the company or organization, like adopting and executing new ways of conducting customer services. If companies or organizations do not adapt, they fail. It's as simple as that. This is what happened to Sears. Sears could have been today's Home Depot or Lowe's if strategic decision-making efforts were able to be implemented and executed successfully. To bring back strategic decision-making processes to Sears, 5 modern developmental methods along with my recommended method will be presented and discussed, being the 4 disciplines of execution, the 7 habits of highly effective people, behind every good decision being that of data analysis, and the great game of business. All of these methods come in book form by stated titles and authors on the slide for further educational exploration. The 4 disciplines of execution offer a more extensive developmental method. The 4 disciplines of execution make execution of a change easier and offering guidelines to do so. In Sears' case, it was bringing back Sears' identity that was lost during the many directions Sears was taken into while trying to adapt and become more successful in a changing retail environment, but at the same time not having knowledge or understanding on how to do so. Therefore, the 4 disciplines of execution when known and being executed, Sears' identity, myself seeing Sears as a hardware store, could have stayed intact. Thus, the 4 disciplines of execution are as follows. Focusing on the widely important, or focusing on 1 or 2 goals that have the greatest impact on keeping an identity in place. Applying lead and lag measures, being lead measures consisting of activities or methods to achieve the goal or goals, resulting in a lag measure. Developing a scoreboard, as winning or having the need to win motivates others to do so. And lastly, promoting accountability of both past and future performances to continue driving execution forward on a consistent cycle of achieving the goal or goals. The main idea of the 4 disciplines of execution is to bring back a company's or an organization's identity and keeping this identity intact by paying attention to factors that influence the identity, such as the environment, and making strategic decision-making efforts when the identity is threatened. The identity gives direction to a company or organization. Without it, direction is lost, like Sears' identity and direction. The 7 habits of highly effective people offer the development of strategic decision-making processes from the inside out, meaning it has to start within in order to reflect outward. The main focus of all the 7 habits is communicating across the board. This means narrowing the gap of communication. Therefore, this can be done by following and executing the 7 habits, being staying proactive, or being and staying self-aware, including the company as a whole. Beginning with the end in mind, meaning having clear understanding of a company's or organization's direction. Put things first, or put what matters most in the forefront. Moving from being independent to interdependent, meaning working as a team for the whole. Seeking first to understand, not to be understood, meaning we mostly listen to reply, when we should be listening with the ability and purpose to understand and share this understanding for the purpose of being understood. Having the need to synergize or functioning as the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, And lastly, renewing the focus of the main goal or goals to keep going in the correct or desired direction. The main idea of the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People is to develop the ability from within in regards to making change happen successfully by everyone or all stakeholders by being connected and collaborating fully. BADAR, or standing for the Business Question, Analysis Plan, Data Collection, Insights, and Recommendations, is a data analytics method or framework. All businesses, regardless of kind, respond to statistics or numbers. Therefore, it is important to include a statistical or number developmental method or framework. BADAR offers a way to take data analytics and present the data in a more understandable way. Data analytics has the ability to find gaps in order for correction or improvements to take place within places that may not have been noticed before. Therefore, BADAR begins with the business question and detecting gaps within a company or organization. The business question answers what's in it for you, or in Sears' case, the company, by presenting the what, who, where, when, why, and how as the main points. The main points to the business question will vary depending on the situation, but in Sears' case, the what would be the company's identity. The who would be all the stakeholders involved. The where would be where is Sears in the past and today in the retail environment, and where is Sears headed. The when would be when do we get to where we are going. The how would reflect the company's direction, therefore asking how a stakeholder is going to stop the decline and maintain what Sears is while being on an incline trend for the long term. Thus, Sears' business question will still be what's in it for the company, but the points to the business question would pertain to if the decline of Sears could or can be reversed either in the past or today. The second guideline BADAR presents is developing an analysis plan in regards to what's going to happen to improve or maintain the business question and its points. The third guideline BADAR presents is data collection, meaning only collect data related to the business question. 2 types of data offer collection methods, which are data pull, meaning only pulling relevant data, and validating data for the purpose of accuracy. The fourth guideline in BADAR is insights, pertaining to gathering insights to the business question, which can take many forms, such as gathering information from all levels of a company or organization. The fifth guideline is making recommendations, which is the most important because recommendations make actions take place in regards to change happening successfully. They provide action plans. The main idea of BADAR is to offer a data analytics method providing insights into gaps or missing aspects within a company or organization. Data analytics is not meant to be used on its own, but in conjunction with other processes, especially on a major scale of change. Sears could have benefited from data analysis methods, and that at the end of the analysis, recommendations could have been offered to turn that decline trend into an incline. And if the analysis was conducted early, it could have been done rather quickly. The great game of business is what the name suggests, a game, to make business or organizational processes approachable, like change. The main focus of the great game of business is full transparency, meaning managing with an open book style policy. This allows everything to be known in order for complete understanding to take place to foster the ability of the change to be executed on a full spectrum. By presenting change as being approachable by being less intimidating, this allows the ability for the change to take place successfully because the idea that it can be done is presented. The game is played using 3 principles consisting of knowing and teaching the rules, mainly to employees by upper management, with the tools of business success and the ability to understand them for the purpose of execution pertaining to being able to make money and generate cash for the purpose of stakeholder and organizational survival, following the action or execution and keeping score, as winning motivates execution, and lastly, providing a stake in the income, which offers an understanding of the outcome of a company created by stakeholders. Therefore, stakeholders need to understand that said outcome. Also, this gives them a purpose about the work that they do. The main idea of the great game of business is adopting an open book management policy for the purpose of complete understanding of a company or organizational processes and all stakeholders' roles in said processes. If Sears followed the 3 principles at the appropriate time of knowing and teaching the rules of company success in understandable terms, following the execution of the big picture, and keeping score to show if winning is taking place for the purpose of motivation and by promoting stake in the outcome, Sears would have produced full collaboration and cooperation with all stakeholders for the success of not just the stakeholders, but also the company as a whole. The Strategic Decision-Making Guidelines method is my recommendation to Sears of the past and the Sears of the future. The ideas within this method overlap with ideas from the previous methods, which also overlap themselves, showing what is presented as common knowledge. Therefore, there is no reason why implementation of methods, or a hybrid of methods cannot be executed to combat undesirable factors. Therefore, the three guidelines presented are the three goals Sears could and still today could execute. They are as follows: adopt a transparent open book management policy, allowing complete cooperation to take place across the board by communicating on a full spectrum about change, bridging the communication gap between stakeholders, continuing the need to work collaboratively, and be in full cooperation with one another, and lastly, paying attention to the environment, both inside and outside of the company for the purpose of adaptation. Again, being able to adapt means to be able to perform strategic decision-making efforts quickly if possible. The main idea of the Strategic Decision-Making Guidelines method is to offer a solution in the form of guidelines to help Sears gain back its position and identity within brick-and-mortar companies. While I do not think Sears can gain back its nickname as the big store, but I could be wrong, I see Sears still being able to sustain its existing stores today if Sears executes the Strategic Decision-Making Guidelines method, or any method for that matter, which I do not think any of this has taken place due to observing Sears still filing for bankruptcies and shuttering stores. Organizations who have taken part in implementation and execution of methods have shown various degrees of success, which can be researched in the book forms of the methods above. Thus, Sears can serve as an example to other companies or organizations on how to become successful once again. If implementation and execution does take place, but success does not because Sears is too far gone, Sears can still be an example to others. This is another way in how Sears can gain back its name within brick-and-mortar companies and within other companies or organizations to come. The physical store of Sears may not exist in the future, but the name of Sears will exist for years to come. Thus, it's important to take note of Sears, even still today.